Hello and welcome to What's New Today. This is a kids and family podcast about current events shaping our world. From India, this is Sangeeta, and my co-host today is...
I am Aniket. I'm nearly 8 years old since my birthday is in August.
Every weekday, we discuss one interesting news story and we look at news stories from science or politics or business or entertainment. So, Aniket, do you follow the news much?
No, but I love listening to the podcast on this channel. My favorite one so far was the one about why Europe is training more soldiers. Because I think all countries should be ready to defend themselves if Russia attacks them.
Okay, that's what you found really interesting. That's so cool. Okay, Aniket. How would you like to talk about volcanoes and sharks today?
Oh wow, I love talking about them. Because there'll be red water spilling all over.
Oh, that sounds scary. So, Aniket, in today's episode, we'll talk about a volcanic eruption that has recently taken place at the Kavachi volcano. It's in the Solomon Islands. And what makes this eruption really unique is the creatures that live near this volcano. But Aniket, do you know of any volcanoes in the world? Have you read about any stories?
Yeah, I've read about the one in Pompeii. It erupted and killed so many people. Ashes rained all and down the ground, and then few people escaped in boats, but then the others, they were buried in the ashes. They couldn't move or breathe. So after that, the lava erupted, and then it killed everybody who was stuck in the ashes.
That was a sad story we've all read in our storybooks. Where did you read this?
In school.
Okay. Aniket, do you know if there are any volcanoes that are still active in this world?
No.
But do you think there are volcanoes that are active in this world?
Yeah, there should be lots. At least a few, like 3 or 4.
3 or 4, is it? Okay. There are more than 1,500 volcanoes that are active in this world. Where do you think we might find more volcanoes? On land or underwater?
On land. Because land, very few mountains are there underwater.
Aniket, in reality, there are many more volcanoes underwater than on land. More than 3/4 of all the volcanoes on Earth are in fact only underwater. When I say the word volcano, Aniket, what comes to your mind?
The mountain that spews out lava.
Right. So a submarine volcano is something that spews out lava under the water. It's there deep under our oceans. The word volcano, in fact, comes from the Roman god for fire. His name was Vulcan. Vulcan. Like I said, there are a lot of volcanoes under the ocean. In fact, most of the volcanoes in the world are found in one specific part of the Pacific Ocean. It's called the Ring of Fire. And if you go there, you'll find a whole bunch of volcanic mountains erupting quite often over there. How do you think islands are formed?
I don't know. I just think they broke off like before when dinosaurs lived. Continents were together and it broke. And the islands, they broke from each other. That's what I think.
That's one way islands might have formed. Do you know a connection between islands and volcanoes?
No.
Can I tell you a small story?
Okay.
Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, a long time ago, like millions of years ago, a volcano erupted under the ocean. And the magma that came out of the volcano, it flowed down onto the ocean floor.
But then if it's water, it touches it, it'll turn into rocks.
Exactly. The magma, the hot magma, came into contact with the cold water and immediately it became a rock. Now, another volcanic eruption happened over there. And then magma again flowed and again came in contact with water and another rock formed on top of the previous rock. Now, if this kept on happening for millions of years, what do you think would have happened?
I think it'll go higher and higher and higher and higher until it reaches land.
Exactly. You mean to say it will break above the surface of the sea and a big landmass is formed.
Land ho!
And an island comes into existence. So islands could even form this way, right?
I think Andaman and Nicobar Islands were formed when tectonic plates crashed into each other. Also, mountains can also be formed like that.
Very true, Aniket. When tectonic plates crash into each other, also islands can be formed. But in this story that I was telling you, there were these big, huge chain of islands that were formed near the Pacific Ocean because of volcanic eruptions. The Hawaii Islands.
Aloha!
And it has a lot of palm trees and all that. It's green. If you fly above it, you'll be seeing green tops.
Wow, that sounds very scenic and touristy. I wish we all go to Hawaii someday. So coming back to our podcast today. Where do you think, Aniket, sharks live?
I think it'll be cold water.
Right. Aniket, imagine you are plonking a shark onto a bathtub with a lot of little soap bubbles thrown into it. I mean, assuming it's really big for a shark to fit in. Do you think the shark would like that warm water or would it prefer the cold waters in the ocean?
I have one question to ask. How hot will the water be?
Okay, it won't be scalding hot, but it'll be nicely lukewarm or warmer than lukewarm.
No, I think I'll prefer colder.
Okay, that's true. But here's the really interesting story in today's episode. The Kavachi volcano has erupted near the Solomon Islands.
NASA has captured eruption of a submarine volcano home to 2 shark species only found in the crater of this volcano.
Solomon Islands is another chain of islands which is near Australia. And even this group of islands was most likely formed because of a lot of volcanic eruptions. Now in 2015, a group of people went there on an expedition. And at that time, the volcano was not active. It hadn't started erupting. Imagine, can you go there now when the volcano is erupted? Can you go there in a boat?
Oh, no, never. I would go there. I would never go there. Because it might suddenly erupt under me. If I go underwater and the lava is over me, I may become a statue.
That's true. So someone attempted this expedition 7 years ago. Oh, but although the volcano was not very active at that point in time, they saw some very interesting creatures.
To peer inside Kavachi's crater, the scientists deployed a bait drop camera to a depth of 164 feet.
They saw 2 kinds of sharks floating super fast. The hammerhead sharks and the silky sharks. So the interesting thing is, in a place where there is some moderate level of volcanic activity happening, even if magma or lava is not actively flowing out in high quantities and spewing out, the water there is quite warm. Can you imagine sharks living there? And these people who went there, they were quite stunned. They couldn't understand why do sharks who otherwise live in very cold places, why are they even here?
I don't know, but a shark would sweat a lot in that hot water.
Yeah, they might sweat a lot. That's true. You know, the temperature there is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's how much my body temperature is when I have fever.
Okay. Even the scientists and the people who went on that expedition are as baffled by the presence of shark in these hot waters as Aniket is. There are two more reasons why they are quite baffled and puzzled. Because when the magma or the lava flows out of the volcano, it's like an acid spilling into the water.
It is very acidic, and they don't know how they survive down there.
And when there's a lot of acid in the water, it kills the fish. So what will the sharks do? What will they eat? Right? In that place. So that's another reason why scientists are perplexed. What do the sharks find so interesting in the volcano region? They've called it the volcano.
That means the sharks have adapted to this place.
That is quite right. That's what most scientists think, that sharks, who we always thought only live in the cold, deep and dark waters and preying upon the smaller fish, some of them have adapted even to these extreme temperatures. Here's a fun fact. In 1883, there was a volcano in Southeast Asia. I think it was called the Krakatoa volcano. And when it erupted, a lot of energy was released. And the sound that came out of it was equivalent to 15,000 nuclear bombs. It's the loudest sound ever reported in history.
To like 100 elephants trumpeting at the same time.
Another fun trivia for you. Do you know that sharks have no bones at all on their body?
But I know one thing. If a shark gets a tiny cut, it will mend itself because it's all only cartilage. Just like in our ears or our noses. So if there's a cut, the skin will heal itself.
Yeah, even the shark is made all of cartilages, just like Aniket's ears and Aniket's nose. Is that a fun trivia for you today, Aniket?
Yes. Ooh, can we go to the other exciting part of the episode? Ooh, I love quiz time. It's so fun when you ask quizzes.
Okay, here we go. Question 1, Aniket, for you. Can you name the volcano that erupted with a very loud sound? The sound equivalent to almost 15,000 nuclear bombs.
Krakatoa.
Question 2. What are the two kinds of sharks that live near the Kavachi volcano near Solomon Islands?
Hammerhead and silky sharks.
The last and the final question. Near which country are the Solomon Islands?
Australia.
That's it from us today. We'll be back soon with yet another interesting news story with yet another super enthusiastic co-host. If you loved listening to this podcast, please leave a rating on Spotify, Google or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. And if you'd love to be alerted when the next exciting episode is released, please click the follow button. If any of you would like to co-host an episode with me, please write to us at hello@wsnt.in.
Thanks for listening.